Hello and welcome back to the Makerspace. This is John. Today I have a very special project. Can you see that all right? We have a broken Dyson. It's a little big for the space here where I'm working, but our friend found this in the garbage and it doesn't work, and I haven't really done anything to it, but I did notice there's one major problem. I don't know if you can see it. Perhaps you can. The cord is like it's sucked down in there and it doesn't come out. I pressed the cord button and it just spun around until it stopped spinning. Whoops. Well, it's probably not a problem. We can always spin it back up. But anyway, I guess our first job is to take this thing apart, if we can, and get the cord out and see if it just works. Here in Japan, people throw things away for lots of different reasons. Sometimes just because they upgrade. Sometimes because there's a small problem that they don't know how to fix. And many more reasons other than those two. So first, let's just see if it's a simple problem, like the cord got stuck inside. And if it is, well then hey, we got a nice Dyson vacuum cleaner for free. And I don't know exactly how much this one costs, but at least these Dysons used to cost many hundreds of dollars or tens of thousands of yen. So I hope we can get it going. That'd be great, because it seems like everything's here. We've got the this big mega arm, if perhaps you can see that monster. Look at how huge it is. Oh, I did take off a little bit of lint that was on this air intake, but right here. Yeah, can you see the air intake right there? Yeah, there it is. I took some lint off of there, and that's about all I've done so far.
Interrupt your
It's a little
there.
Oversized here. Ryan is interrupting me, and
If
I'm not exactly sure why.
If you can't fix it, we can always galvanize, take the parts, cannibalize the parts for
Yes.
some kind of art project or.
Well, this is something I have considered. If we can't fix it, the motor alone is probably worth salvaging.
But that
may still work.
Kind of fuselage-looking thing on the top there, the orange part, would be really cool on something like a homemade Ghostbusters backpack or something like that.
Yeah, a homemade Ghostbusters backpack might look pretty good. I think there's a lot of things we could do with the parts on one of these Dysons. But first, let's see if we can get it working, because its value as a vacuum cleaner apparently is quite high. So, let's see. Let's unattach some of this stuff. Again, I'm not exactly sure how much you can see because it's rather large, and I've got this thing zoomed out about as far as I can go, given the space that we have available here. Maybe I should be doing this somewhere else, but let's see what we can do. I think this comes off here. All right. There's part of it. Put that to the side. And that's interesting. There's a big filter in there. That surely must be cleanable. So I would think this thing would come apart relatively easy once that is kind of done. This seems, yeah, that did come out pretty easily. Oh, look, there's a lever of some sort here. Maybe you can't see that, but down here, the lever, just managed to get the hose off. That's good, get that out of the way. Now, one thing I did notice is while I was holding on to this thing, I don't know if it's going to happen now. Let me pull off some of these different parts. But with this piece here, earlier when I was pressing it, look, the light turns on. There's got to be a battery in there, right? Why is there a battery in here? I guess they don't have... Wait. Like in Japan, often you have these vacuum cleaner units that have like the handle with controls on it like this, and there's like a connection, and down the tube there runs a wire that allows you to activate things. But this is working without a wire of any kind. There's no connections or wires that run through the tube. So I wonder if there is just a battery inside of here, and it uses maybe an IR sensor. Oh wait, I see right now 2 AAA batteries in the handle. Panasonic. Can you see those? I didn't see those earlier, but there they are. So that's very interesting that you need batteries to run your vacuum cleaner. The Japanese ones, the Panasonics and your Hitachis and what have you, they don't need that stuff. There's definitely some hair stuck in here. Oh my God, look at that. What's going on here? There's a bunch of garbage stuck up in there. That looks like the foot of a Gundam model or something. That's interesting. I wonder if they realized that they lost that before they threw this thing away. Well, and what is that thing? It looks like a filter, perhaps? Just in case I'm going to set this to the side, this thing, just in case we need it. I hate to throw something away that we need. But the rest of this is garbage, in my opinion. That's some type of a thing that screws onto something. That could just be something that got sucked up into the vacuum cleaner while they were cleaning. It says Esteban. Esteban. All right. A Spanish name. When I think of Esteban, I think of a very romantic and masculine man. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I've read some books or watched some movies where Estebans were always a very alluring individual. Okay, so here I see there's like a lock-unlock thing going on. Let's see if I can get it undone with just by hand. I can't. And I don't have any large screwdrivers here. I only have my impact driver with the Phillips head on it. I didn't know what I was getting into here when I started this video. So let me grab something real quick to open that with. Aha, this will work just fine. It was really close by. I think the back of these tweezers will fit into that space. So let's try it out. Yep, seems like it fits fairly well. Alright, we seem to be in the unlocked position. A lot of these things apparently. Let's just turn them all to the unlocked position and see what happens. I haven't researched how this thing comes apart or anything, so this is a true adventure of exploration. Some type of a filter. It's a nice looking filter too. It feels soft, like our cat does. Oh, Artie. All right. So there's a filter that has come off there. It's strange, actually, that there's a filter there because this door has absolutely no like slots, so there's no air intake. I wonder what that filter is filtering. I guess the air passes along the bottom of this space somehow. I don't know. There's a whole lot of security screws. They look like they're basically just Torx. Probably 12, maybe a 10 or something. That's okay. I have a screwdriver over there that can take care of this. Let's see if there's any more twisty turny bits that need to be twisted. I don't see any. Aha! Alright, well that's how we get to our main filter, which is dirty. I guess whoever owned this thing before didn't know how to clean it, and maybe that's why they threw it away. Wow. And another thing I must say, Japanese hair is rather thick, and so you often find these huge mats of hair. Like, they just blow across the floor. It's a very interesting phenomenon. I don't remember seeing that growing up in the United States, but maybe it's just because I didn't do quite as much cleaning as I do in Japan. But hair here certainly collects into like tumbleweeds and rolls along the floor, collects all the dust. Anytime you find a big like dust bunny in Japan, you're guaranteed to have some really thick hair mixed into that. Very interesting thing that you might notice living in Japan from abroad. Okay, let me throw this away. It's disgusting. Alright, now that the mat of the ages is gone, let's see if we can get over to our plug and its exile into the nether regions of this vacuum cleaner. There's a whole lot of like dust and dirt and stuff in here after taking out that filter. I kind of want to dump it real quick. Should I just dump it on the floor and then use the fixed vacuum cleaner to clean up after itself? Ryan looks like he approves. He gave me the okay sign. That was a little bit nasty. It's like sand. I think whoever has owned this vacuum cleaner in the past is a big fan of the beach.
Maybe they use it in their car.
Maybe they use it in their car, but it looks like beach sand. But I don't know for sure. Anyways. Alright, so is there another side over here that we can open? Because I really hope there is. But it doesn't look like it, and this is where the cord goes in. I think it's time to start taking this thing apart. Still got dust bunnies falling all over the place. I should be wearing a mask since I seem to have dust allergies these days, but actually, I see a lot of screws under here. Let's see if there's a trick to getting at those screws by taking this side wheel off. This middle area in the hub looks like it might be hiding some screws, but it doesn't seem like it wants to come out of there. Not with my fingernail prying anyway. Alright, well there's definitely, I think, screws going in this direction. I can kind of see them. So there must be some way to get this off. Maybe the woo, sorry about that. Maybe the center hub comes out. I don't want to pry too hard. I'm already damaging the plastic a little bit. Not a big deal because it's garbage, but it's not like I want to do lots of damage to it. So, okay, let's leave that for now. Let's take out some of these other screws that are obviously present in some places, like down here. Let me grab a screwdriver, or at least a bit that'll fit my my impact driver, and I'll be right back. Alright, well this is the closest thing on hand, so I'm not going to bother with the impact driver right now. Let me just talk about this real quick, even though perhaps it's not terribly interesting for you. Geek buying GKT100. It's a very nice set of bits, but the screwdriver itself is really lacking because the part where you connect the shaft, it just broke right off there. I glued it once, and it lasted a little while longer, but pretty much done with that. So I'm using this other one from a different set that they fit, and that seems to be the better way to go. Alright, so these, actually it might even be a T20, looking at the size here. No, T20 is too big. T15, I'm guessing then. Yep, seems to fit alright. It could be like a T16 or 17, but I don't know if they actually make those, so 15 it is. Alright. Here's one. Two. 3. 4. 6 and 7. The more I think about it, the more I think this little piece of felt or whatever it is not a filter, and it's probably just garbage, but still. There it is. Ooh, looky there. That's interesting. I'm already seeing some control board here, and there's like a wire that runs around. This looks like, to me, it's probably a radio wire, which tells me that this piece that looks like it's one of the doctor's weapons from Team Fortress 2. That's what it looks like. I feel like I could just run up and stab somebody and get like some Uber charge energy or something. Anyways, this thing could be radio controlled. That would be interesting. I thought for sure it would be like IR, but this antenna is telling me radio. Well, who knows? All right, so now that's off. I see another screw here. Maybe this whole bottom bit comes off. And then under here, there's another one in this area. And that would take that part off. I kind of want to keep these screws separated just so I kind of know what they're for. So in the part that came off, which is this thing, upside down perhaps, maybe in this area, I'm going to put all these screws just to kind of keep them where I understand more or less where they go. Alright, put those over to the side. I dropped something. Felt like something hit my shoe, but sometimes you just have those little phantom sensations. Let's take off this thing next, just to get it out of the way. I don't know if it's going to be useful for us to remove, but the fact that it is removable makes me want to just take it off to get it out of the way. Ryan's inspecting our medic weapon. Maybe he's thinking, Halloween costume idea. Well, this isn't wanting to come off, not even after I took off the screw, but well, this little thing seems like, there's a bit of a tab there. Let's see if, well, I'm not sure that did anything, to be honest. What is that? So this screw is holding on this little thing, and this was flowing over what looks like the back of some through-hole soldered contacts. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's something that needs to be cool, but that has not removed that thing, that piece. So we will just set it to the side with a screw in the proper hole and forge ahead and figure out where it goes later. Okay, so there's Captain tape on this seeming antenna, which really seems like overkill since antennas don't get hot enough to need Captain tape, but whatever. And I guess we should probably pull it all out, which seems like it's a lot of work that doesn't need to be done later on, but this piece should remove. Oh wait, maybe it's only, let's see. It seems like this screw was only holding in a small bit, and the rest of this is still firmly connected, which is rather pointless in us having undone that antenna wire. And we're just going to have to redo it again and figure out the path. So I kind of want to just stick it back in there now, at least somewhat temporarily, just so I don't lose the path. I suppose I could rewatch the video, but it's a little hard to rewatch a video that you're making. So again, I don't know why they use Captain tape for this. There are lots of tapes that I've seen used for manufacturing purposes that I would assume cost less than Captain Tape, unless Captain Tape is available far more cheaply at manufacturer levels than what I can buy personally. At which point I would imagine it would also have to be cheaper than what a manufacturer could buy Scotch tape, for that matter. But I don't know, maybe it has some properties where it doesn't break down like Scotch tape or something. But anyways, Captain Tape. Nicely done. Dyson, you bought good tape, I guess. I don't know. We could probably discuss whether or not Captain Tape sticks as well and as long as other tapes. That's something I'm not familiar with. Oh, come on. Alright, I'm starting to think this is far enough on the, oh wait, maybe not, because it really kind of moves around here. Alright, let's just, let's keep at it, see what happens. There we go. Well, I wonder if there was a specific reason for making this antenna go in the pattern in which it is attached, because I know they've done lots of studies, like robotic studies and AI studies and whatnot, as to like the most efficient antennas for different wavelengths and whatnot. And I wonder if this is a very efficient antenna shape for this particular wavelength. I don't know. But it makes me wonder. Alright, that's more or less back where we found it, since it doesn't seem to have anything to do with anything. And in fact, I think I'll put the screw back in here, just because I don't think this screw has anything to do with anything either. I think it's just how they managed to connect this particular size and shaped piece to the place where they needed it. I think if we can get the whole thing apart, that won't matter at all. So we're still looking for other screws, and the only ones that I can find are under the wheels, and I don't know how these wheels come off. Where's the, here it is. This is the wheel that we managed to get off before. There we go. Now, this motor has a couple screws here on the top, but I think taking the top off of that is not going to accomplish much. I don't know for sure, but I get the feeling. It'll just get us at the motor, which looks like a fairly nice motor. Looks like it might be clamped and soldered, the wires and everything. But now there's some more nasty dust that probably doesn't need to be there. Alright, so it's not this side. It's just not. Let's have a look here. See if we can take apart any of this housing. It seems like this would snap on and off, but there's no good way to find or depress any tabs, which would break if we didn't do it properly. You know what? I've just found a screw, and I may have just figured out how to get to it. Okay, so deep down in this hole here, got another screw. Let's take that one off. Alright, that's more or less off. Now, how does this get removed? I wonder. Or what does that remove? I think we need to actually pull it out, because it seems like perhaps it slides Okay, it's out. And yes, it did. It slid up. So as long as the screw was slightly in the hole, it couldn't be removed. So yeah, I had to get that out all the way. Okay, so now we're looking for, oh no, okay. Please fit, please fit. Oh, it fits. There's a screw down in here. There we go, we found it. I can't believe they actually made this hole big enough for a screwdriver with an adapter. Usually if you have any type of a bit adapter, you're done for. You're never going to get inside of these little tiny holes. But we made it. There we go. Excellent. A little more dust in there. Let's get that off. Okay. Now, where do we go from here? Well, maybe that didn't accomplish much either. I think those might also just be ways of keeping housing on that are not terribly necessary. So it's looking like we're getting back to this wheel and how to take this wheel off. I'm gonna have a little look under here, see if I can find any way of removing this wheel. I'm not seeing anything. It looks like it's just a mysterious assembly of plastic bits. Does the injection molding here tell us anything? It could be that there are some like connections in these places where the plastic is kind of smeared, not smeared, where it comes out of the injector. Alright, I'm gonna have to find a tool that I can use to kind of pry a little bit better. I'll be right back.